gonna sound like. This is what it sounds like. Ba-dum, ba-dum, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. What is up, Ash Nation? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you my remix of What It Sounds Like from K-pop Demon Hunters. Now I'm going over this because it went a little bit viral over on Instagram, and I thought it'd be cool to show y'all how I made it. In this video, I'll be going over the project file. I'm gonna show you the plugins that I use. That's right, I'm revealing all of the sauce, all the tricks I use to get it to sound, quote, real, and I'm gonna go over the songwriting decisions that I made, and I'll just be going in order of what happens in the song and little tips and tricks in Ableton. So if you're down for that, smash the like button, or if you're not, that's fine too. Type below in the comments what type of videos you want me to make. You can listen to the remix down in the link below if you want to hear it beforehand, but I'm just gonna jump right into it. Let's start with the intro. Nothing but the truth now. What made this remix really easy is they released the acapella. You can literally search in Spotify for any K-pop Demon Hunter song plus acapella, and they're all good to go. Acapella sounds like this. Nothing but the truth now. And I did a vocoder on it. Nothing but the truth now. Because even though it's a pop punk song, I wanted to have a more electronic intro. Just trying to keep it moody. So the chords I pick are pinging between the two chords, and the chords playing underneath. Nothing but the truth now. Gives it that vocoder. Nothing but the proof of what I am. So if you don't know how vocoders work, you're basically taking a chord, blending it with the vocal, and I'm automating the formant so that it's got a bit of movement. Nothing but the proof of what I am. Also not a full dry wet so that you can still hear the original vocal if it was all the way. Nothing but the proof of what I am. You get the full Daft Punk effect, but we're keeping it half and half so that we get a little bit of both. Along with those chords, I was going for some OK Lou type arpeggio. Triangle wave, automating the frequency so that it's like growing. Doing the same chords as the vocoder. And then we have one transition chord. This chord is going to be important because this helps us transition into the actual rock part. Little beach ambience, because what's more moody than a beach side? Also, Kingdom Hearts starts on a beach, and Kingdom Hearts is hella emotional, so there you go. Our first bass, just a respace, Serum. Very low pass because I don't really want it to be too in your face. No bass in your face, just bass in its place. And it pairs so nicely with the arpeggio, and of course a sub bass to thicken it up. That's basically the intro. No drums. The only rhythm is coming from this arpeggio because I really want this vocal to carry. Because this song is so vocal oriented that it just makes sense to have the vocal be the main thing. Nothing but the proof of what I am. The worst of what I came from. Patterns I'm ashamed of. Things that even I don't understand. I try to fix it. After this chord comes in, we start introducing some of the rock elements. This also could be how to make punk music without any actual instruments. That's more of like out of necessity because I don't have the space or the funds to get the equipment that I want. So if you want to help out with that, Patreon. Over on Patreon too, you will find the making of this remix. And the first thing is this lead guitar. And for all of my guitars, I'm using a plugin called Electric Mint. It's by Native Instruments. This is my go-to. Literally the default setting for this exact tone. With just a little EQ and reverb. Because this is not a main element, this is gonna pop up again from time to time in the song, but it works as more of a background element. It does sound super robotic, but because I'm aware of that, I'm doing my best to add a lot more electronic elements because we're never gonna get a realistic guitar sound from a VST. We can come close, but I don't think we can quite get there, so we gotta work around it. But it's kind of funny that these VSTs are so robotic because one of the first producers I met when we were recording a pop punk EP, he was so adamant about having everything be on the grid, on time, almost as if it's a computer. And then when I switched over to electronic music, I met so many producers that were like making sure that their drums were off the grid because we needed it to sound more human. So you kind of got to find that happy in between and just sort of work with what you got. And then the other real instrument is our bass. which I have a whole rack for. It's all made up of free VSTs, so if you want to download that, that'll be in the description. The main meat of it is this ample P bass. This is literally a free one. It probably could sound better, but whatever. So this is playing the same root notes as the chords. The chords have now changed to the very melancholic, and that matches so well with the vocal.
I try to fix it, I try to fight it. My head was twisted, my heart divided.
Speaking of piano, Imagiro? I'm a Hero piano, another fantastic plugin. This one's not free, but it's one of the best sounding piano plugins. I love how like muted, and you can hear the hammers. Ooh. These are also playing 7th chords, which means this is what a regular chord looks like in scale mode. If you skip a note and add another note on top, it creates a 7th chord. I use these all over the song, and it just adds that extra melancholy sound. If there's no 7th, it sounds like this. It sounds very pop, very basic, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But for the mood that I'm going for in this song, if I add that top note, and we could go even further and add inversions and all that. I'll be doing that later on in the song. If you want to know how I approach that, there's this video too you can watch. But let's keep going. 3 real instruments getting added on: piano, guitar, and this bass. And then on top of that, let's keep it electronic by adding an aim break, which is kind of funny because this is using a lot of electronic music, but it was sampled from a real drum break. So technically it's a real drum. This specific drum break is sampled so much throughout electronic music, hip hop. So I felt it very appropriate to put it in here. Of course, I'm using auto filter to bring it in slowly. And I'd literally just let the loop ride. Let the filter do all the heavy work. The only thing I add is just this little glitch here at the end, because this is where it transitions from the moody beginning to the verse. And remember that chord I was talking about at the beginning? This chord is very good for transitions. I just have the piano playing a little. I broke it to a million pieces. I can't go back. If you've noticed, I've been in actual producer mode lately, and I'm really excited how some of these songs are turning out. So if you start seeing them pop up on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, or TikTok, it's all thanks to longtime friend of the channel and this video sponsor, DistroKid. With DistroKid, I'm able to upload the music I've been working on to all streaming services. And since you watch my videos, so can you. When your music's ready to release, you can use DistroKid to get your songs out into the world for only $23 a year. You can upload an unlimited amount of songs to those platforms. Plus, it's a good safety net to be able to release independently as well, even if you get signed by a label. Because what happens when you don't quite fit with their roster anymore after you've grown as an artist? Independent distribution through a service like DistroKid is perfect for that. Plus, you keep 100% of your royalties and, more importantly, ownership of your masters. So, if you're like me and ready to release your music, sign up through DistroKid now and get 7% off your first year with my VIP link down below. Thank you so much to DistroKid for sponsoring, and thank you for staying so long during this that we'll now get back into. So we transition straight into a full 5th wave emo. And why do I say 5th wave emo? Because listen to this drum beat. If you are a Midwest emo knower, if I remove this kick here, I took the drum beat from Hot Mulligan, but I added an extra kick, so it's a little different. I'm not a drummer, by the way. I'm not 100% sure if this is realistically played. I just think it sounds good. And because all the instruments are VSTs, I might as well just lean into having it sound a little more fake. The drums are all done inside Get Good Drums. The pack is called Modern and Massive, and then a preset is called In Your Face. I think it's the default preset. I'm not 100% sure. I might have changed it, but this is the snare that I used in it because I was very adamant about this type of snare because that'll come in handy during the breakdown. This is the kick. I just made sure that it's very clicky. For some extra movement, tambourines. Gotta have the reverse snare. This is made by resampling the snare and reversing it. For the bass, I'm just having it match the kick drum. Playing a different chord progression. It's kind of funny because we've changed chord progressions 3 times, but I think that's what's cool about what it sounds like. It's like the finale of the movie, so it evolves rather than sticking to a typical song structure. Let's go into the guitars, and these are the chords. This is what they look like. This is what they sound like. Hi! I think I was doing a lot of experimentation with these chords. I initially had them as like big full 9th chords. These are now just a very open chord format. I just did this by ear. Because I'm using this plugin, sometimes typical chord shapes don't work that I would normally do in a synth. So these chords are written in the way that a guitarist would play them. So rather than having the root on the very bottom, I'm having the heaviest string be playing the 5th because the bass guitar is taking the position of the root. So we've got this like really open 9th chord. Also matching the rhythm of the kicks. Minus this slight pause here for that funkiness. Because this is such a bouncy rhythm, I've got a few things to kind of help anchor it. This section, it's just playing octaves. The cool thing about this plugin is it comes with sampled versions of someone playing 8th notes, and that's what I have it doing here. Just think of it as an extra melody. On top of that, I have a lead, another Electric Mint. This is the preset Modern Rock, and it's basically playing the same as this octave with a few little flourishes. Also a counter melody. This is all palm muted. The reason why I have a lot of these is because this bouncy guitar pattern just on the VST by itself sounds really fake. And I'm trying to get around the fake sounding guitars by layering multiple things being played at the same time like you would in an actual band. So the more stuff that's going on that's contributing to the overall song helps keep it a little more realistic. Now there is a chord change here, but only in this lead for a bit of variation. Along with this lead, which leads Midwest emo riff, which I thought would just be such a lovely moment in the song. On top of all of these like melodic decisions, I've always got this vocal playing because I want all of these guitars to complement this vocal. So a lot of the rhythmic choices and melody choices I'm doing all play off of what the vocal's already doing. Ba 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 da ba. So the guitar is basically doing that.
The scars are part of me, darkness and harmony. My voice without the lies, this is what it sounds like.
Because this is the title of the song, I thought it'd be such a nice moment to have just a little guitar lick.
This is what it sounds like.
I love it. It fits so well. Obviously, in order to emphasize that guitar lick, barely any bass, drums stop. There's a reverse impact sweep so that it's very dramatic, and the only other drums is this kick, boom, and then another hit to bring us to the next section.
This is what it sounds like. Why did I cover up?
Now, when we get to this part, the other girls come in, building and building and building. I've switched up the drum pattern to be less Midwest emo, a little bit more almost metal-esque. There's no crazy hats going on. The ride is just staying on a steady beat. Similarly, this main guitar is no longer doing a funky rhythm. Same with the bass. The only little things I'm adding are a few octave jumps to give it a bit more movement. And that'll match up with the drums as well. All the syncopation is coming from the kick now. Everything is playing more straight notes. The octaves are doing a bit of movement though, doing like an almost counter melody, kind of matching the vocal. And it's like ascending, ascending, ascending. And then I have a, which is the same lead as the intro here, but palm muted. And then a cool thing I do to keep it more in line with this modern metalcore, a super saw. Give it that sort of synthy vibe. So now it's sounding a lot more Bring Me the Horizon as opposed to Hot Mulligan.
What it sounds like.
Because like one of the challenges I had, the many tempo changes in the song. So there's a lot of me like trying to match the vocals up if I want to keep it to a more steady rhythm. Oh God, it's so out of time. Hang on, give me a second. There was a lot of drifting in the tempo. That's why you see a lot of these vocals chopped up, because I had to put them in time with each bar. But I needed to find a point where I could smoothly transition from 130 BPM to 165. And right here is how I did it. This is the automation for the tempo change. It happens really fast, like in this four. Those 4 hat hits are not even in time. They're just there to kind of like prime your brain to be like, oh, we're going fast. Okay. It's a little awkward if you listen to it out of context, but it sounds fine when it's all played together. Okay, so let's get to the second verse. The whole idea was to lean again into electronic music. This is drum and bass. It's a little slower than drum and bass, but the drum pattern, it's drum and bass. Because in my head, there's this correlation between punk music and drum and bass. So I wanted to bring that energy and doing all the movement in the bass. Okay, another cool thing about Electric Mint is you can do built-in chords. So from just the B, you have that sampled 8th note being played, and you can choose the different voicing. This one's just power chords, root and 5th. And I only have it on this because I wanted like one thick chunky layer and then the other 2 playing octaves above and below. So it's actually matching more of what the bass is doing. Little riffs at the end of every 4th bar. Anytime I want to add like a little flourish or riff, I want to make sure as many layers are doing the same thing at the same time, so that it really emphasizes it. You're not alone. And then there's one more guitar layer, a lead. It's on a clean guitar, so it's very unassuming. It's more, not even a lead, it's more in the background, because the true lead is the vocal.
We're shattering the silence, we're rising, defiant.
Dude, this part was so challenging because of these little ba, 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 ba in the background. That's why I think I have it like straightforward with the drums, especially because I can't get rid of the little ba, 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 ba. So I had to work around it. Okay, now we get to the first freaking breakdown for those. Where it all starts for me is the drums. What kind of drum pattern do I want it to do? So I always start with the kick drum, because this kick drum here is going to determine what everything else is going to play. Bass follows the kick. This specific bass plugin does not go lower than the D, so I can't tune it any lower. We make up for that with the guitar. And the thing with using this VST is not just picking the notes, but you have to manually put in all the articulation. There are specific notes that activate the palm mute and the open. So I'm basically going back and forth between opening, palm muting. And it's really tedious to do, which is why I'm like, man, it'd be faster if I had a real guitar, but I'm not mad about how it sounds. So we have 2 main layers for the breakdown guitar, which is this first one, which is a more plucky. I would say this is the main layer that you hear, but then I also do it on this guitar, which is much more distorted, accentuates the open notes, and this one accentuates the palm muted notes. They sound more full together. And that's literally the sauce for how I get those breakdown sounding. The rest of it is filled out by that kick drum pattern that I made sure to write properly, because that'll add the punchiness to the guitar, and then the bass will add that low end to it. We can't have this by itself because it still sounds too fake. So the same way that I offset the rhythmic stuff on the verse, I do the same thing by adding an anchor chord, like a steady rhythm. Now it doesn't sound as weirdly robotic because you have this steady 8th note being played. And on top of that, a lead guitar, just riffing like crazy. If you notice, all of the pauses on this kick pattern are pretty much following what the vocal is doing. As I said earlier, everything is written around this vocal.
I'll be right here by your side.
Then the chorus is basically the same.
We broke into a million pieces.
The only thing I added was to make it super Bring Me the Horizon-esque by adding this lead guitar. Layered with counter melody. Very Midwest emo, right? I forgot I did that. Holy. Damn. Wait, that sounds so sick. I cooked with that. Damn. So the point of this was to literally tie it together with the original Midwest emo ideas. As I was saying with the Bring Me the Horizon aspect of it, riff on a supersaw. Supersaw just made with wavetable. No other processing other than EQ. Glide mono turned on. You know how it goes. This always layers so nicely with the lead guitar. Damn, I love how that sounds. Oh, it just blends so nicely with this lead here.
We broke into a million pieces and we can't go back. But now we're seeing
Okay, then here, all I'm doing is just changing the drum pattern so that it's doing basically what would be the equivalent of a build-up in electronic music. But in rock music, they like to do the
show me what's under me. How about your heart?
snare kick.
Listen on this fire. This is what it sounds like.
And in this, I actually go full like dubstep. Before, I think I only had it for like 1 bar, and I extended it to a full 8-beat fake out. And in the original song, this, when I heard it, I'm like, man, this could go into a freaking metalcore breakdown.
This is what it sounds like.
They're already doing the gang vocals. The golden riff here. So it was already like on a platter for me. Now, how I made this, I took the actual breakdown guitar. I'll go over that in a second, but I took the actual breakdown guitar. I put it on a whole new channel, bounced it out, and then just did telephone vocal on it. Exactly how you would do for like a tear out dubstep drop. If you look over here, we got the panning. So it starts off on the left ear. Guitar matching the golden riff. With the articulation doing a few slides. I'm not 100% happy with how that sounds, but it's a background element, so we'll let it slide. Kilohertz tape stop. Literally just on for that 1 second. And that adds that little... And then I found a scream on Splice. I think it's Sullivan King. Just in the background. And of course, in order to get to the breakdown, you gotta have the ride bell. And then I got this thing that I sampled from this band called Bill Murray. At the end of one of their songs, he does this pig squeal. So I'm like, well, I'll just put that in. The very, very first thing I did was actually pitch the song up to get around SoundCloud copyright. And 2, by pitching it up it brings us to F major. And when you're in the key of F major, if you go down 1, 2, 3 semitones to its relative minor, it's a nice chunky D. So that means if you were to be playing it on guitar, when you play a breakdown, it's on an open string. That's how you make it the heaviest. A lot of these metalcore rock songs, they tune down to what's called drop D, where they turn the E string to D, and then you can just do open string. Dun, 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 dun. So that's a lot of the reason why I pitched it up the 1 semitone. Starting with that, I'm able to write effectively around that and make it sound good. Anyway, as for the guitars themselves, once again, using Electric Mint, this stays on the muted. Except for the very last hit here, playing on D that I explained earlier. This is the lowest note that it'll go to. And we're also doing the 5th. So this would be the 2nd string. So you'd be playing the first 2 strings. So palm muted. And I'm just emulating that. And then on this section does the chromatic. A cool thing you can do when doing breakdowns is do 2-1-0, 2-1-0, and it's like this chromatic movement. You'll hear that a lot in trap music as well with the 808s, but it's a good little passing transition. But that's the main breakdown. Let's hear it with the drums. And you'll be like, Ash, that doesn't sound so thick. Now, if you want it to sound thicker, do it with the bass as well. This bass doesn't have articulation, so it's just open. But I think in an actual song, you would do it palm muted. But making sure the velocity is all the way up so it sounds like it's slapping. But if you listen to it by itself, it sounds like doggy doo-doo. But it kind of adds to it because it's got all of those extra transients, so it's very punchy. It might actually work in its favor. And then there's the sauce right here for the breakdown. It's because we're using the VST, you gotta have that little bit of extra like fuzz on top. So I put in another electric mint, dry metal doubled, and this time I play it open. But I make sure that each MIDI note is like super short, so it doesn't sound like a full open note. If I was to open this pit up, it would sound more like, and you don't want that. I want it to sound tight. And the reason I have that is because it blends really well with this palm mute, especially with this chromatic slide. On top of that, it also helps to have a lead, and we were blessed with Golden's melody, which the vocal is doing, so might as well just have a lead guitar match that, and the synth. So sounds super fake, but and I think it's honestly carried by the vocal because your brain just kind of accepts it. In the second part of the breakdown, I wanted to go just super heavy, so we just did double kicks. Just crazy with it. Match the energy with the guitars, so we're doing triplets. I don't even know what chord this is. I just tried to pick the most dissonant sounding thing. The D and the E flat together. That gives it that. So it's playing off of the constant kick drum. And I thought that was just a fun moment. Very metalcore. Chords are doing the same thing. This isn't playing the dissonance though. The only dissonance is coming from the distorted guitar here because adding dissonance onto this would be too much. And at the very end, we bring it all together. The chunky verse guitar and do it onto the chorus. Rather than doing a drum and bass style, we're carrying over the drum beat from the breakdown and then we go through the chord progression. So now it gives us this melodic but also metal vibe. Doing a lot of similar movements as the breakdown here, like the chromatic movement again. And then it ends by going back into the drum and bass. So I'm basically letting the rest of the song play out, and then you hear an almond break going on in the background because we're building again. And this is when the song just goes off the rails. I did not do this tempo change. The song does it itself, and I was like, this is the perfect moment to do something like, what are we building to, chat? Bringing the breakdown back. And there you have it. This is a breakdown of what it sounds like. If you have any questions, type them down in the comments. If you want to see more in-depth, picking my brain apart on how I did a specific song type videos, let me know. If you want to see me actually make the song, it's not start to finish, but it's start to like halfway. I have that stream VOD up on Patreon, so you can watch that if you're interested in seeing that process. Thank you for staying if you made it to this section of the video. Maybe this inspires you. Now go make some bangers. Peace.